It's time for Everything Noob, your source for all things gaming.
That's right, once again, it is time for the Everything Noob podcast, episode 70. Welcome to the show this evening, Vortak, Jimmy, Dreadlow. How's it going, folks?
Hello. Or is
Who's
it
going?
71?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I thought it was 71.
71. Is that not what I said?
No, you said 70.
Oh.
You just
Well,
really
I meant-
confused the audio audience.
I meant 71.
I heard the one there, just a little bit, but it was kind of silent. But I heard the one there.
All right, well, I
70.
apologize. Welcome to episode 71. Tonight we have lots of new things to talk about. And I think Dreadlow's going to be taking away most of this conversation because he managed to sneak behind our backs and meet up with the dev of this project. But I'll tell you.
You sneaky sneak.
I'll tell you what this is. There's a thing out there I've discovered called Anarchy Arcade. And it's this project, it's currently in Kickstarter. We're going to provide all the links to that in our show notes. But this thing is really cool. Basically, imagine an apartment you can go into on your computer. Like, we'll say an apartment, for example. There's other rooms. And all of your games in your Steam library are placed on classic-looking arcade machines just around the room. And you can walk up to them and start them from this arcade. That's kind of like the basic concept of this project. But what's really cool is all the features you can do with the videos. That's my opinion, anyway. I love what you can do because you can take videos from YouTube or your computer or whatever and just put them in a frame on the wall, push play, and everyone who's standing around them, yes, it's multiplayer, everyone standing around them, around the video can watch it real time at the same time. You could have like a real-time viewing party of something in this game.
So is it like Second Life? Then?
That's, it's so funny because I even mentioned that. And it's funny because when I mentioned it to the dev himself, his name is Elijah Gomez. He said, I've heard that before. So everybody keeps saying that. It's like a virtual desktop. Just imagine your desktop turned into a virtual world, and everything is clickable. And I mean, you can even open PDF files, Word documents. I discussed that with him because I tried it the other night and it didn't quite work for me quite well with the prototype that's out there. But he says all these things. This is the thing. There is a prototype out there, but it's not obviously Anarchy Arcade. It's called Smartcade, and you can actually get it off the Kickstarter webpage. And but in just that alone, the Smartcade itself is like blow away. I mean, it's just amazing. And I'm thinking to myself, how could it be better than this?
Let me ask you a question.
He's going to do it.
So you said it was multiplayer, and there was this arcade of like all your games available in a virtual room, which is in place of your desktop. Can the people who are multiplayer hooked up to you like play a game that's in your arcade through there, like it streams to them?
They would have to own it.
Okay, so they can launch it from your computer, but it would be really launched on theirs.
Right. And
Okay.
There's the it's like shortcuts, but
Okay.
But I mean, if you could just imagine, going up. I went on a server, and there's only one server, and it's a guy named Haxer who put it together. But Elijah, or Eli, as I think he likes to be called, he was there, and that's how I met him. I was very fortunate enough to actually be able to talk to him. And so he's like showing me around and talking to me about different things and how Anarchy Arcade is going to be so much better than what they have right now. And I was able to click on things, and it will tell me you do not own this game, and it would actually open up the Steam store page where I could buy it, I can download it, whatever I need to do, and it'll all do this in the background while I'm still in the arcade, in the virtual arcade. And there's voice in it. You can talk to people. It's amazing. It's hard. It's me describing it is not doing it justice because it's so much better than the way I describe, and it's just incredible.
The way I kind of look at it is imagine inviting your friends over to your house to watch a movie, except you can do it over the internet. You have an internet house, you have your internet movie, and your friends that are on the internet, and they can walk into your house and come watch whatever you have on TV.
Ooh, that's starting to get a little like dicey with that.
I thought the
with
same
Hold on.
streaming of
Yeah.
copyrighted material.
Hold on.
Trust me.
I did talk to him about that, and he did say that. He said, no, you have to actually own the item, and by law, everybody should own a copy of whatever movie you're going to be playing within this this game.
Yeah.
And it's like with an emulator. You know how we use an emulator and we download ROMs and la la la. If I actually physically own the game, then I can legally play the emulator ROM.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same idea. It's based on trust. I don't think he's going to have any blockers there that's going to block any of that. I don't know, because when he talked to me, he says, no, you need to own it yourself too.
Saying that doesn't stop like the movie industry from suing you though, because people do that.
Well, the thing is, you can't. I'm not sure about like if you have a CD or whatever in your CD player and you have a link to it in your arcade so that people can watch it with you. I don't think there's anything that could stop you from doing that. However, he does emphasize that it is illegal because you are sharing copyrighted, materials or whatever. I'm not sure if there is a block for that or not, but you can stream YouTube, so everybody will be watching YouTube at the same time. YouTube is completely legal. There's nothing illegal about that. So if you could find YouTube in there, there's also you can link up to Pandora Radio. You can link up to all those different options. I even asked about Netflix, and he did say, everybody has to own a Netflix account in order for you to actually legally watch a movie together. So, and I'm not sure how that would hook up. Like, for instance, I think it opens up on your computer. So if it opens up on your computer and you're viewing it, Netflix on your computer, it's not going to open up for them if they don't have a Netflix account, obviously, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So they have to have a Netflix account. They'd log in, and same thing. You can start a movie at the same time and watch it together or whatever.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it will.
Netflix Movie Club.
Oh, I just know that the Anarchy arcade that he's developing right now, that he's putting together, is just using basically the same system, same engine, same everything, is going to be so much better, and it's going to have so many different options on there that are going to, it's going to be, more streamlined, more optimized, so that it works better with your computer. Right now it's glitchy and buggy because it's just the prototype, and that's a virtual desktop, and it minimizes, and it basically releases all the resources so that a game or whatever you're doing will take the full.
It won't prevent your performance if you launch Borderlands from it. It's not going to affect the performance of Borderlands because you launched it from this Anarchy arcade.
Right.
So temporarily shuts itself down.
Yeah,
until
basically.
You quit the Borderlands.
Until you quit, and then it opens back up, and you're in the arcade again.
Oh.
So it's pretty amazing, and then here's the neat thing about it is there's a point system every time you put up a link or a game box or whatever you're going to put inside your apartment. It gives you points, and then you get these points, and as you accumulate points, you gain access or unlock other items, like different kinds of game boxes,
casings for the consoles and furniture for decorating your apartment.
It sounds like real life Animal Crossing for Vortex.
Yeah, and you can actually open up additional rooms. So
do I get a yard and pick my neighbors?
And it actually, you can actually have kind of like your own little city or whatever. I did ask him if you're able to walk outside and walk around to each of the buildings, and he said no. They'll just be, you'll be able to link to it, so you'll be able to kind of teleport to it, and then you'll be in that building, and then you teleport to the next one. But there'll be a map.
Oh, okay. So there's a map that you click on the house you want to go to.
Yeah, and then you just go to it, and so I mean it's and the Smartcade doesn't, I don't even think, have that functionality yet. It's not
No,
until
it's
he
pretty basic.
completes it. It is pretty basic, but it's a prototype, so
Is there a projected like final release price tag on this yet?
oh, I don't.
I think it's going to be 15 is what the Kickstarter said.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty reasonable because all it's really doing at the moment, like for most people, what it's going to be doing is launching their games from it. It's just going to be a fancy game launcher for some. But for people like us who, well, I think it would be perfect if a bunch of people had this and we wanted to do a viewing party for First Street with some of our close friends or something. Like, okay, we're opening the server up for 10 people to come to our viewing party of First Street before it releases. Something cool like that. Like, it can be used for all sorts of little applications that you couldn't otherwise do. And I mean, yeah, again, you get into the problems of legalities of stuff, but I mean, I know it's still illegal, but the way I see it, and the reason that copyright law and all these laws are so screwed up, is because in real life, I could invite my friends over and pop in a movie, and no one can say anything about it. I'm just going to sit in my living room with my friends and watch my movie.
Oh, yeah.
This is literally no different than that. It's just on the internet, and so it's considered streaming it, and so it's illegal. And that's what drives me nuts about these laws. It's like, guys, when are you going to realize that people's eyes in their head, like, you're just looking through a secondary screen. You know what I mean? Like, physically, the action of watching a movie with your friends is the same exact thing, whether you're online or at home.
I'm gonna assume like if it's very limited, like you have to add people to a friends list and they have to add you back, and it's very close to like pretty much basically people you really know or you've met in forums and become friends with, and you can only like stream to maybe, like you said, 10, 15 people at a time. That the movie industry and stuff, they'll probably just pass over it because it's not really sharing the movies. They can't really argue definitively that would be cutting into their sales. It's a small fry thing compared to like a streaming website or a torrent website.
We talked last week about people streaming movies on other websites to their friends and having viewing parties that way, and how they were making secondary streaming accounts in case they got banned. But people do it now on a much worse scale because anyone can jump into that.
They are pursuing those people or the websites who host those currently.
Yeah. This is different. This is like a closed room kind of thing. You can put a password on it. You can close it off. You can have X amount of people in there. But again, I mean, the developer himself needs to take precautions. They need to make sure they're not going to get in trouble. I don't know how laws work like that. Maybe just by him writing down, everyone must own a copy of this, everyone must own that, then it automatically puts it on us and he can't get in trouble. I don't know if that's true.
He could add in like stuff where it checks to see if there's a disc in the tray that contains the movie, or it hooks in with your Google account or Amazon account or whatever for the streaming.
Well, like I said, with the Steam games, it basically does that. Like if I go up to a box in his little virtual apartment, I go in there and I see a game that I don't have, and I try to click on it. It'll show me a trailer of it, and I can either zoom in and have it full screen on my computer, or I can just look at it while it's in the box, like I'm sitting there looking down at it.
You can't watch me play it. That's the one disappointing thing, and they might change that. That could be one of the things he'll add in the future. I don't know. But if I'm playing Binding of Isaac on the machine, you can't stand over my shoulder and watch, which would be really cool.
Now I'm not sure how that works, but yeah, that would be actually awesome to be able to do that.
You would literally have to stream from your computer onto that screen, and it could take up more bandwidth.
Well, now it might work because when I was in there, we were watching a trailer. Okay, some of the options that you can get to make these virtual links is like an iPod, or you can have a giant screen, full screen TV on your wall, and you click on it, and when you click on it, like I was clicking on it and we were watching a trailer to a game, we all could see the trailer.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah, it's awesome. Like,
so I don't see why you could. Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't possibly look over their shoulder and watch them play the game. Maybe, I don't know.
It would have to be hosted off your computer, just like YouTube is hosting the video. This is different. The stream would have to be hosted from your computer while you're in this game. So that could cause a different complication. Playing YouTube videos would be a lot easier because all it's doing is taking the video feed from YouTube at that time and just playing it for you. If YouTube were to go down at that time, you wouldn't have the video anymore until YouTube came back up.
I'm also wondering if you could actually watch a Twitch live stream in there.
That's what I was gonna say. Instead of using Twitch chat, you post a Twitch stream movie in your like projector wall stream.
Yeah,
I think you can.
And you use that instead.
The way you put a YouTube video on the wall is you literally click on the wall and then you copy and paste a link in a hotbar. So you could put Twitch instead of YouTube there, and but it might bring up the Twitch page instead of the actual video itself. So maybe he'll have to work that out. But
you can actually go to websites.
It depends on how it grabs the video.
He's got our website, everythingnoob.com, on a wall in there. So
that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. Big ups.
So
to,
it was
Anarchy
great talking
Arcade.
to him, and I'm hoping maybe we can generate some questions or whatever that we can ask him later. And
tell you what, if anyone out there has questions and you want maybe the opportunity for us to answer them for you, or maybe we can get with him and try to work something out. I mean, I can't promise these questions will be answered, but if you have questions about Anarchy Arcade, please go to everythingnoob.com, hit contact us, and submit your questions in there. Just make the message say Anarchy Arcade question, and then type out your question and send it to us, and we'll save them for the next show, and we can talk about it next week. So if you guys have any questions and we can't get to them right now in the stream, that'll give us a week to try to maybe ask the developer those questions. He seems to be very approachable, and maybe we can
just spam him a bunch of questions.
Now you can also get the prototype, which you need a Steam account, because what it does is it creates a shortcut in Steam for you.
Yeah.
So then you download it and it creates a Steam shortcut for you, and then you can try the prototype. But I'm telling you, if it's buggy or glitchy, that's not going to be the complete thing.
It's not even an alpha yet, because it's not.
Yeah.
You're not really playing Anarchy Arcade. You're playing just what a developer would. Here's a good example. Right now, Lucklin is working on Aegis Effect. We talked about that extensively before.
Right.
He has his very own playable version of it, what he would call a prototype. It's not even an alpha yet. It's just for him to walk around in and see how the game looks as he's coding it. That's kind of what this is, except you can download it and play it yourself. And this is what the developer himself is probably using to test out his own work. So
yeah, that's basically it. And he said that he's testing things out, and he still updates the Smartcade to work much more better. Like, we had a discussion about some things, and he says, "Oh yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and add that update." So he's updating the Smartcade as well. It's called Smartcade. He's going to update that, and as he's progressing and actually making a final product, he'll be updating Smartcade, because that's his little test center.
yeah.
It's like his little test thing, his test dummy.
So let me tell you where to get this. If you're listening and you don't feel like going to the website, it's going to be in the show notes. But what you want to do is go to anarchyarcade.com, hit the FAQ button. This is how I found it. There might be an easier way, but I found it by going to FAQ. Some of your questions can be answered there, but as you scroll down, one of the questions is this playable now, or there's a playable prototype? The answer is yes, and it gives you a link to download the Smart Arcade.
And he said he's going to, because I mentioned that too, that it was very hard to find. He said he's going to make it more available on the website, much more easier to find.
Okay.
So
cool.
that's something he's working on.
Definitely worth checking out. I am very excited to see this this grow. I hope the Kickstarter does well. They're trying to reach a goal of $35,000 to get this project off the ground, which
That's
for most
a pretty low bar.
Yeah, that's
very
not much.
achievable.
Yeah. So
And this is for licensing fees and the legal stuff that he's got to go through to get this thing out there, and so that's what he's aiming for. And
yeah, earlier Jemmy mentioned something that I've always been very this reminded me of it instantly. You mentioned Animal Crossing before.
Yes.
Animal Crossing had the very original one for GameCube that I played had old Nintendo games in there, NES games, about 16 of them you could collect, and you could put them in your house and play the NES game in your house. And that's kind of like this. It just, makes me feel that way.
yeah,
I can't believe they removed that feature too. It was so cool.
yeah,
Probably
just the
'cause they
fact.
didn't want to recode it for every game.
just the fact that you can access pretty much anything on your computer, because there is a single player aspect too, that you just have the virtual desktop open all the time or whatever, and you can have all your links in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be just games, but games are obviously the motivating force for this whole thing.
Yeah. And sorry, I interrupted before. You were saying he has to get licensing and stuff like that, which is probably going to be his biggest cost, I would imagine. Licensing the games and things like that.
If you look on the Kickstarter itself, he says, why a Kickstarter? And he basically says licensing fees, legal fees, taxes, additional artists to help with the workload, and initial server costs and setup fees. And like I said, there is an actual server that you can try out on there. You just go to find server. When you open the game up, there's a link that says find servers, and there's a server on there. And he frequents there all the time because he tests out lots of different things. So
you can also, I mean, if you download this, we were testing it before, you can start up your own server, and we used Hamachi to get it to work. You might not have to. I'm lazy about port forwarding, but you can use Hamachi and have your own server with your friends. And yeah, that's how we did it. We opened up our private server and had a couple friends on there just derping around and checking out YouTube videos and stuff. Which, I mean, that's like the coolest thing for me. I don't even care what else it does. I just post YouTube videos on the walls. I'm like, hey, check this out, and we just.
So this is what I missed this weekend while I was playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
I was a dork in real life. You guys pretended on the internet.
We were pretend dorks.
Actually, he's in chat right now. Anarchy Arcade, I think, is him, because he just messaged me.
Okay.
So, yeah. So if we have any questions for him,
right on.
He's there in chat.
Of course, people in chat, you guys can feel free to torment this developer. Ask him your questions.
Wow. Just gonna open the floodgates to harassment.
Politely torment.
Politely. As long as it's polite.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We've discussed a whole bunch of stuff already, so he's watching us right now. We've already pretty much went through it, so unfortunately he missed a lot of what we were talking about.
Oh.
But yeah.
It's been like 20 minutes already.
Yeah, so.
The grand opener.
So, there you go. There he is in chat, so you guys can ask your question about Anarchy Arcade, and of course we'll go back to it here and there. Let's move on to the next order of business tonight, though. Titanfall released last week, pretty much at the time we were doing the podcast. And I went and I bought it, because I make wise spending decisions.
Thoughts?
Yeah.
I actually wrote in a very extensive blog about my thoughts on it, on everythingnoob.com, if you guys want to go check that out later. But I'll give you the rundown. It's good. Like, it's a fantastic game. Definitely replaced any desire I ever had to play Call of Duty or Halo, for sure. Because I haven't touched those. I haven't touched my Xbox in a long time. I plan on getting an Xbox One. I've said that before. But the one thing that people are kind of iffy about is the campaign, because it's not a conventional campaign. It's not a single-player campaign. It's an online-only, multiplayer-only campaign. So it literally puts you into a match with a dozen other people, and you play through the story with these people in the match, and you're just fighting as if you were playing any other multiplayer shooter. So there's a winner and a loser. It's not predetermined. Meanwhile, let's say, because there's the militia and the IMC. Those are the two sides. If you're on the militia side, there's a storyline. If you're on the IMC, there's a storyline. And I guess there's a good story there, probably, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what it is. Therefore, I can't spoil it for you. But you cannot focus on whatever the story is, because they're just screaming at you, and you're fighting the other team. It's like this huge disconnect.
Huh.
So there's no option to, like, put it to friends only and then just solo through the story?
Oh, you could. I mean, if you had that many friends that you wanted to play the story with, I'm sure you could. But you can't solo the story. I mean, you could get a group of, I guess, 5 other people in you, because I think it's 6 versus 6, if I'm not mistaken. Let's say it's 6 versus 6. You can get a team of 6 to go with you, and maybe try to like pay attention to the story while you're fighting the other team. But honestly, what's going on is you're shooting the other team, right? And in the corner, there's little video cutscenes that keep popping up, like showing you destruction that's supposed to be going on away from you that you can't really focus on because you're trying to fight the other team. And it's very strange. It's kind of cool, but it's strange. And if there is a story there, it's lost because of it. So that's kind of disappointing. And some people are arguing that they feel cheated out of half a game because it's not a real campaign. But
right.
I basically said it's kind of a new look on multiplayer campaigns. And it's very... I think it's not going to be the last time we see something like this. I think it can be improved upon greatly.
Yeah, that sounds like needs to be a lot of improvement on that method because, like you said, there's too much going on, and then it's multiplayer, so you're focused on trying not to get squashed. And
yeah, that being said, the multiplayer itself is phenomenal. The actual multiplayer gameplay is awesome. They did a fantastic job up and down. The balancing between Titans and pilots is perfect. You don't have to, if you're a pilot running on the ground and you see a giant mech coming at you, you don't have to worry. You have an anti-Titan weapon that's pretty effective. You can jump on him and start, killing him that way. So there's not a lot of the things people feared about the game aren't a problem. It's just this weird campaign story that most people, I haven't heard too many complaints simply because people love the multiplayer that much. So they're okay with it. But the complaints I have heard, people kind of feel like it's missing half of its gameplay just because there's no single-player solitary storyline campaign like everyone's traditionally used to. Call of Duty has it, Halo has it. So I tend to agree in that way, but I also don't care that much.
Yeah, most people who wanted Titanfall didn't really care about the single-player. Like, it was all about the multiplayer. That's all anyone really cared about because it's all most people would spend their time on.
See, I was under the impression that it was only the mech warrior, that you didn't actually pilot, you didn't pilot it. You were the mech in the game. And then when I saw that, you could pilot it and you can get out, you could fly, like jet over and that made it so much more interesting to me than just a mech game. Just being in a robot. Killing other robots. So it was kind of neat to see that.
It definitely, like I said, everything about it is cool. The campaign's just a little bit weird, and I kind of gave my pros and cons of that in my blog. But it's still great game. And one thing I was playing last night with Mr. Toy Grubin, one of our excellent staff or server staff people on the Vortex community, and a friend of mine. And we were playing for like hours last night and what happened? Oh yeah, we were doing pretty good, but we were finding that the main thing people were killing us by, like the main attack they were using, was this annoying melee attack in the game. People can kind of relate if they've played Call of Duty. One of the most annoying things was running around and turning a corner and there's another guy there that just stabs you with a knife, like just dead. Instant, like you have no time to react or think. Similar, but more clunky, is the jump kick in this game. That's the melee attack. For some reason, the primary melee button, or the primary melee attack when you hit the melee button, is this annoying kick. And it launches your guy forward. So you have the momentum of running already, and then you hit the melee button, and then your foot just launches you forward. And it's so annoying because you end up in a tight space with someone, you're trying to shoot them, and they have this foot like coming at you, and if they hit you even a little bit with that foot, you're dead, and it's so annoying.
Let me just interrupt here. This is something that bothers me in a lot of first-person shooters. So usually if you can knife somebody, it's instant death.
Yeah.
That's so BS. If somebody knifes you once in real life, here's what's going to happen. If it's a fatal blow, it is slow and painful.
You just bleed out forever.
You bleed out for forever. Unless they hit you somewhere where you're going to bleed a lot, like the jugular. But still, that is not instant death.
Yeah.
It is very slow and painful. So these one-shot kills with knives, No, they need to go. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's just not realistic.
So even more stupid is the fact that you can be kicked to death by one blow to the chest, to the knee, it doesn't matter.
Foot kick?
Yes. And it's funny you mention that, because the way I see it, how do we have this huge disconnect between shooting and melee? Because in real life, like you said, if you get stabbed, it's not instant, it's just very painful and slow and long. If you get shot, 9 times out of 10, probably instant, you're probably dead. If you get shot with a fully automatic weapon, you're most definitely dead. How come in these games you can take like 100 bullets? So I'm shooting 100 bullets at this guy, and he just goes, and then kicks me, and I'm dead. And then he just like brushes off the bullet holes and runs away.
Yeah,
Megafoot.
I guess nothing.
The hell is that? That's like the one thing first-person shooters need to like fix.
Yeah.
Because if you can come up behind somebody and kick them in the back and snap their back or like snap their neck, okay, I'll accept that. But face first, like you're face to face with this guy, and he just wants to get his multiple like melee kill challenge completed. He'll just keep. He won't shoot at you. He'll just keep kicking until you're dead. It's very obnoxious. So yeah, that's my other complaint. But anyway, we were getting killed like that so many times. I was thinking, you know what? I wonder if like there's a cheating problem in this game, because many games when they first release on PC that are FPS, cheaters find a way in instantly. And
Of course.
I can't say
Fair.
I can't say that people were cheating last night. I don't know, but there were a lot of instances where I turned a corner and I didn't even get to look at the guy. He was running at me and like just took one shot and I was dead.
Well,
I'm
maybe
like,
he had
whoa.
like fancy headphones on and knew you were coming.
Maybe there was a little bit of like lag there because of the ping, or it could have been cheating because there is an article that's up right now, and we're going to link it in the show notes as well, that says Titanfall is working on anti-cheating methods, which tells me there must be cheating going on if they're working on anti-cheating methods.
Yeah, they must have noticed a problem.
Yeah, they said they're definitely enforcing, they're definitely enacting bans when they can, but they haven't been able to do much because they don't have their anti-cheating stuff in place yet.
Why isn't that in place yet, since like their whole game is multiplayer?
I don't know.
Like, I understand not being able to anticipate certain things, but not to have anything in place when your game is multiplayer only? Like,
I didn't
who
read the whole
made
thing.
that call?
I didn't read the whole thing. Maybe they have basic stuff, but you really, in order to know your security flaws, you have to have security flaws hacked in the first place, probably. So,
but you hire people to do that on purpose.
obviously they didn't.
Yeah, well, that's a funny thing with a lot of these big developing companies. That's the one thing they kind of forget when they release their game is how to, battle the hackers. But then, you got some of these indie games that are pretty well advanced with that. They're on top of it, more than these big-time developers. So who knows? I don't know. They'll come up with something, I'm sure.
Yeah. Those are my first thoughts, though. After playing several hours last night, the other thing that was kind of bugging me is I saw we were teamed up against a person who had like a level 7... I don't know what it's called in this game. It's probably not called Prestige. In Call of Duty, a Prestige is when you get to the max level and then you start all over again, and it basically gives you a little symbol indicating that you have once completed, the game's multiplayer leveling from start to finish. Mm-hmm. This guy had done that 7 times, from what I saw. So
did it carry over from like the beta then?
Well, no, well maybe, but there was also another article I found that said someone had completed all 10 of them in 3 days. So it's very possible this guy had just been playing since it came out as well.
Oh, no. He must smell like funk.
That, and it's kind of a quick leveling system. Anyway, point is, we're against this guy, and those levels are they just mark how much time you've played, and it goes up faster the better you do, obviously. But it doesn't like go by how good you are. It just literally goes by the time you've played and how many kills you've gotten over that time and so on and so forth, and all the challenges you've completed. Yet the matchmaking system puts us against this guy, and he got 21 pilot kills, a countless number of like NPC kills, and like the most points he beat everyone by like a mile and a half in this game. And we're all sitting there like, are you kidding me? Like, why are we against this guy? He's obviously played way more than any of us. Why is he not with more experienced people? Because there's plenty of people who have beaten it a few times already. Why isn't he with them?
Right.
Why is he matched up with us? That's another thing that I would like to see changed, because I know that technically it's not a measure of your skill, but it's kind of a measure of your skill when it's early on, you know.
Right.
So that was a little bit annoying, a little bit obnoxious. I'm sure even in the future when new players get in there, they're not going to want to be pitted against people who have all this experience.
Well, I mean, in defense of the matchmaking service, and I don't know if it actually does gauge your skill or your ranking and like tries to pair you, there might not be enough people where he like are in his rank to matchmake against, so it just tosses him with whoever who's about to make a match.
Yeah, but he was the only one that had completed the game, the leveling even once, the leveling cycle. Like, no one else had completed it even once at this point. So I feel like it was a huge spread. He could have at least been in there with a few others, and I would have felt a little bit better. But he was the only one, and he killed everybody. But yeah, maybe there wasn't enough. I don't know. If you play that much, yeah, you're bound to be.
I mean, it just released a week ago, so like I can't imagine there's tons of people who are at that level of like rank in the game.
He might have been a tester. He was in there messing around with you guys.
Maybe in like a month or two, I could believe like that would, if that still happened, it's kind of a problem. But right now, it's kind of like I can imagine there wasn't a match that he would be appropriately placed into.
That's true. You know.
Yeah.
If there's nobody to match with, they ain't gonna not let him play.
Exactly. So, they're just gonna put him in like the closest match or the soonest match.
Yeah. Maybe that's how, for now, that's how it works. I'm hoping that gets changed because it was bad, but maybe I just need to not suck so bad. I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Stop being a noob, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a good game. Those are my first thoughts. That was my brief summary.
Get your KD higher.
KD. Yeah, those people I'm not excited to be playing with again, because I'm sure it's going to be like that too. That a lot of Call of Duty crossover, because Respawn is essentially Infinity Ward.
Yeah.
They're the ones who made Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I believe 1 and 2, but I could be wrong.
I don't understand
they were fantastic,
why people care about KD. Like, what does that matter in the grand scheme of things?
Oh my god, I had a friend who was so obsessed. He wouldn't let me play on his account because I would screw it up. And when I did, like, because he tried to be like, he knew he was being douchey about it, so he would kind of like back off. And I would play like one round, we'd be switching the controller back and forth.
But can't you reset it?
No, you have to do good to get it back up. So I would die a whole bunch of times, and he would just be cringing in the back, like, no! And I almost enjoyed it because I knew it was like this. To find the kill to death ratio, it was like in this massive list of statistics. It wasn't like there next to your other levels. It was in this huge list of statistics. And I'm like, who needs to know all of this? Just play your freaking game. Holy crap.
Well,
the computer might need to know it for a more accurate matchmaking with people of your appropriate skill level.
Yeah. I don't know. Man, oh man. Anyway, so in other news, I stumbled upon a pretty short little blip of an article. There's a rumored, and I hope it stays this way. Oops, did I give my opinion before the story? There's a rumored Amazon video game console. And the reason this article popped up is because they're saying it can stream, important word there, stream top tier, I'm doing air quotes for you audio listeners right now, PC games at 30 frames a second, which I guess if you're streaming is pretty good.
Well, that's all you need.
Yeah. Why, Amazon, go away. That's all I can think when I read this, though.
I just don't know why Amazon would want to jump into that market. They would do better just to sell the games and then continue to support their Kindle Fire, which people do a lot of gaming on that anyway.
Again, the games are from developers and stuff
Why
like
not
that, so
just have a Kindle Fire gaming edition?
even that would be better than
That's what I'm saying. Like, why would they make a gaming console, which is so niche, instead of making like a gaming gear tablet, which is just like a super tablet for them?
I scroll down like to the 5th comment. It says, "Go home, Amazon. You're drunk." I think most people kind of feel this way. But I think the thing that turned me off instantly was the picture of the controller when I scroll down, which is actually a video, but the thumbnail is of the new controller for this supposed rumored Amazon console. The controller looks pretty legitimate to me, but it is the ugliest thing I have ever seen.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Imagine an Xbox controller that was fed fatback for like a week straight for all 3 meals, and then like flattened. And it's the same layout as an Xbox controller, but it looks highly uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's no real curvature there.
Would it be squishy, I wonder, because of the fat back?
It's made of this hardcore rubber.
Well, it sits out for a while, so it probably gets really stiff.
Oh.
It just looks horrible. I don't want to see any new console. Like, look how much trouble Nintendo's having. There are 3 giants right now, and one of them is going down slowly and painfully. Like, suffering the same fate as Sega at this point.
Maybe, but I think if they kind of just continue to support the Wii U, but make the 3DS their like focus, and continue like holding that huge margin on handheld markets and making great handheld games that people do on the go and supporting that and making that a great experience, I think Nintendo will be okay. Until they can figure out what to do next time.
Yeah. Well, we found a good segue for this. But the reason I'm kind of going quiet now is because I'm reading all these tweets. I want to, before we go into this, because I'm going to ruin my segue right now, I want everyone to know that if you ever have like a topic you want us to talk about, like an opinion, and you want to hear our thoughts on it, hit up everythingnoob.com and hit contact us. That's like the best way to leave a really long, drawn out like a message to us, because this is like, I'm going through like a dozen tweets here. I don't mind reading them, but there's a lot of tweets and they kind of got buried over time. So, but he'll kill me if I don't bring it up. But our friend Jake, he had a thought that he wanted us to kind of touch on, and I don't know too much about the Nintendo Network IDs, but he's basically saying that because of the new Nintendo Network ID system, and again, I'm reading through a lot of tweets, and at this point I'm skimming them because there's a lot. Hopefully I'm not getting this wrong, but it looks like their new Nintendo ID system they implemented on the 3DS is kind of screwing up people's regions. So if you were to take your 3DS like somewhere else, like out of the country or the state or whatever the region lock prevents you from doing, the 3DS thinks it's in a new region, and maybe the owner's change. I don't know what goes through the system at that point, but it basically locks you out of certain things depending on where you are, because you physically moved with the 3DS, and you can't really do anything about it because your Nintendo ID can't be changed. I think that's the issue.
But the Nintendo ID is mostly just the DS. Like, that's one thing I didn't really like. It wasn't like creating an account on Nintendo.com or whatever, and that's your store account. And then, you know how, like, you have your Amazon account and you buy your Kindle books through that, or Steam, and you, no matter, like, what computer you're on, you own all your Steam games on that machine. It's not like that. It's your, like, Nintendo store account is based on the device, which there is a convoluted way to transfer that account to another DS, but it cannot be active on 2 DSs at the same time.
So it's basically a way to marry your DS to you.
Yes.
That's stupid.
But like, it feels like the account should be married to you, and so like when the next gen comes out, I just put in my account details, and anything that's compatible, I still have.
That's how everyone else does it right now.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was like a little frustrated when I was looking at that. I'm like, I really don't want to buy anything through that store. I'd rather buy cartridges because they do backwards compatibility with Nintendo and their handhelds. I don't want to be locked out of my games if I can't somehow like transfer this account over because they decide they want to do their back end differently.
Well, now when you go to a different region, you're going to be locked out anyway.
Well, you know, I didn't notice a lockout when I went out of state. So maybe I'd have to fly over the ocean or go down to Mexico or something.
You'd
but
probably have to visit a region that would have different laws. Nintendo's locked or something. I don't know how region locking works in the first place. But this is creating a problem, it looks like, to some extent. And again, I can't really sit here and read word for word because there's a lot of stuff here. But yeah, I think the Nintendo ID itself is kind of stupid. It's definitely new since I've gotten my 3DS because it wasn't there when I first got my 3DS. And now, whenever I want to log into the Nintendo eShop, I have to type in my password for this Nintendo ID.
You can save it.
Well, yeah, I could save it. I'm saying like I have to log in with a Nintendo ID though.
Yeah.
Which is strange because I didn't have to before. But one day I logged onto it and it's like, you need to create a Nintendo ID. I'm like, no, I don't. I didn't have to yesterday. No, but now you do. And so I had to make a Nintendo ID, and yeah, it was a pain in the ass. So there you go. Nintendo IDs suck.
Well, maybe
my
that's
opinion.
their way of making the account transferable between the Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS and all that crap.
If
and
it's
like,
going to work with the Wii U, then yes, I understand.
maybe that's the way they're trying to kind of match the rest of the market, where you're married to the account, not the device.
I would
Well,
hope
doesn't
that's what
iPhone
they're
work
planning.
that way?
Apple works that way. Microsoft works that way. PlayStation works that way. You make your PlayStation Network account. You make your Xbox account. Now, Microsoft, it's a little bit better if you have, Windows 8 and everything because they're finally getting on the same page as Mac. I guess I don't want to say finally like it's a good thing because people kind of liked this about Microsoft. But if you have Xbox Live and you have Windows 8 and you have all these things, they kind of go hand in hand. So you log in with one account and it recognizes you from your Xbox or vice versa. So
Yeah.
Right.
it's convenient. It's made to be
Very.
convenient. Apple's always been that way. I mean, at least since the iPod and they kind of came into their own. You have your Apple TV, you have your Apple computer, you have your Apple phone, and you log in with one account. And if you purchase a song on your iPhone, it'll already be on your computer. If you take a picture with your phone and you have your screensaver for your TV set to a picture slideshow, the picture will instantly be in that slideshow. I mean, cool stuff like that. It does a lot. I mean, so it's cool to have that kind of thing. And then you have Nintendo. What?
Speaking of like the device, like I do have one huge gripe about my 3DS.
No.
And like, you know how they have the screenshot feature and like you can just take screenshots of everything in that game
Oh.
and stuff?
Yeah.
And like it saves it to your SD card, and there's all this like focus on the wireless card in the 3DS. It's always connected to the internet. The Street Pass and the connectivity is like a huge focus. I can't wirelessly transfer those pictures to my computer or Twitter or anything like that, like that I know of.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like I'd have to take the SD card out and put it in my computer to do something with it.
I
It
thought the same
drives me
thing.
crazy.
My only theory on that, is aside from them just simply not thinking of it, has to be something to do with the family aspect of Nintendo, because they don't want you to be. There's a lot of parental like safety features on there, and they don't want you to take like pictures. Like maybe I don't know. Maybe they don't want people trading dirty pictures wirelessly. So if they have to go through an SD card, then through a computer, and then there's more risk of like the kid's parents finding out they're doing something they shouldn't be with the camera. Maybe that's the safety logic behind it. But
Well, no, because
otherwise,
originally you could send them to other people through the swap note over the internet.
they got rid of SwapNote because of that.
But
though.
they got rid of that.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's why. I think it was just they just
Ill
didn't think
thought.
anybody would want to tweet their game screenshots out. And I do.
Yeah.
Please give me a DS Twitter app.
Yeah. I
Oh,
had,
that would be cool.
I had caught some fish in Animal Crossing, and I wanted to show off to TJ and Jemmy. So I literally had to take the SD card out after taking some screenshots and then moving them onto my computer and then tweeting them to my respective friends. So, no, I agree. I think that's a feature we should have. And I hope that I don't have a Wii U, but I hope that there is some good connectivity between the 3DS and the Wii U and the network ID accounts and things like that, because that's what everyone else is doing. I mean, if you're going to play in the same field as the big dogs, you have to at least offer the same crap they're doing.
The same good crap.
Yeah, the same base level. The stuff that comes standard. Like, come on. So, airbags are standard in every car now. And there's a good reason for it.
I don't even know if you could sell a car now that had no airbags.
I think you could sell an old one, right?
Well,
I mean, if I collected classic cars,
through a flea market or something, I'm sure you could. But I mean, like,
flea market.
I don't. Well, you know, like you could sell a used one, like on the black market or
black market. Where are you buying cars?
No, I'm just saying you can't have a dealership that manufactures and sells cars without airbags, is what I'm saying.
Dealerships don't manufacture cars.
Man.
You know what I mean.
I'm just messing.
A company that manufactures and has dealerships and sells through that channel, like, I don't think you can do that.
You can't manufacture a brand new car without airbags, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I don't think you can do that.
Or the Cyclops brake light.
Yeah, you can't.
Cyclops
brake light? You need the third brake light.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be helpful if you're in a taller vehicle, I guess.
What?
Long time ago, there wasn't one. There wasn't one.
The third brake light. You know, you have the two.
Oh, the one that
I
never see?
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody pays attention to it anymore.
No, the only brake lights I ever see are the two red ones that are right above the blinkers.
You know what's funny is whenever I notice someone's taillight out, I never see their third brake light come on either. Like, if I notice the brake light's out, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not thinking about it, but for that split second, I always think, oh, they're turning their signal on, and then I see the light stay solid. Oh, one of their brake lights is out, and I never see the middle tail light because my eye is kind of more drawn to the other tail light that's.
Have you ever been behind somebody who? Now, this was a short fad for a while that kind of went away. Had the blinking brake lights. And they would flash
I think
obnoxiously when they were braking and or just at a stop sign. Now, eventually, most of them did stop after they were stopped for a long time. But it just drove me crazy. I was like, somebody's going to have a seizure from this.
How close are you getting to those cars?
Maybe that's why they don't have them anymore. They're probably outlawed.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're obnoxious and very distracting, and the LED lights were really bright. So I'm sure somebody had a seizure and crashed, and it's just like, it goes off. It better be just steady on.
Or maybe you just drive into town where people, for some reason, tap their brakes a lot.
Obnoxiously tap their brakes at perfect intervals.
Yeah.
And don't roll through the stop sign.
Maybe it's a conspiracy.
Somehow.
Like the whole town got against you. They're like, let's really freak this chick out. Whenever you drive up behind them, they're like, oh, here she is. And they get all excited. And then one of them crashed and it had to stop.
Oh, serves them right.
Good. Good. Damn it.
I'll be the grumpy cat. Thought you'd play a prank on someone and ended up crashing in time? Good.
Yeah. So I do really quickly. Earlier we were talking about Anarchy Arcade. I want to thank everyone for participating in that discussion. I'm pretty sure the developer's still here watching. I mean, I can't promise that, but I saw a lot of people asking questions to the developer. And like we were saying earlier, if you guys have questions for the Anarchy Arcade team, if you want to know more about that, go to everythingnoob.com and ask us your questions. Or you can just go to anarchyarcade.com, hit their FAQ, visit their website, get your questions answered there. But if you want to hear more about our opinions of it or thoughts on it, you can always submit questions, comments, feedback, concerns on everythingnoob.com. Contact us. You can,
or anything else.
You can leave a voicemail. You can text. All those things.
Yeah.
21st century.
Beep boop beep boop boop boop.
There's no one on the other end of that line. I think that's one reason we don't get a lot of calls is because it's kind of weird, but it's literally an automated system. Like we only hear the voicemails after they're in the mailbox. We only see the text after they're in the mailbox. We can't reply to the text. We can't pick up the phone and go, "Hey," we can't do any of that. So
Twitter
And we don't
is
have
the best
time.
way to get a reply if you want an instant reply, or
Somewhat.
within the next hour or two.
Yeah, somewhat instant reply if we're checking Twitter.
Well, it'd have to be like our personal Twitter accounts would be better if you wanted a more personal reply. eNoobs is kind of like I check it sporadically through the week, and but there's no guarantee I'm looking at that feed.
Yeah. Also, what?
I was gonna say I'm definitely looking forward to the final product here once Eli gets this all done. But I just wanted to say, yeah, people go to his website and also go to the Kickstarter. I mean, he really needs some help with this, so it'd be really cool to.
Oh yeah, if you guys know anyone out there who would support this Kickstarter by retweeting it, like any of your, any people you follow who you notice are into that kind of thing, like send it to them. Write your congressman. Let him know, hey, this is.
I don't think Congress cares about this. This is for the nerds.
I was joking. Don't write your congressman about this. He'll be confused. No, but really, if you know anyone who wants to help spread the word, this Kickstarter just recently started, and they're trying to raise $35,000 for development of Anarchy Arcade, so go check that out. But yeah, tomorrow is Tag Team Tuesday. We're going to be playing a game that not everyone's going to be able to play with us, simply because it's a little bit smaller in terms of multiplayer parties, but Left 4 Dead 2 is tomorrow, so come check that out.
Well, we could do a versus match. That gets like at least 8 in there, I believe.
Yeah.
I think there might be a 16-player mode, but I'm definitely knowing 8 can go in a game.
I don't like Left 4 Dead versus. I'll play it tomorrow, but I've never liked it very much.
You know what? I've noticed it really heavily depends on the people you're playing with.
Yeah. Yes, it
does.
Like,
it'll either be the most fun you've ever had in a long time, or the most miserable experience.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I can count on one hand the minutes I've played of that, but it's okay. I'll probably play more tomorrow and enjoy it. So yeah, that's tomorrow's Tag Team Tuesday. You can get all the Tag Team Tuesday scheduled games a whole month in advance. EverythingNoob.com. And one more thing I wanted to mention was the Vortac Minecraft server community. We have some new updates coming very soon, so be on the lookout for that. Today I finally finished the new quest I've been working on forever, and I just kind of, once we finished the I had a lot of help finishing up like the logistics of it and the redstone and stuff like that. Once that was done, I kind of took a break and forgot to actually go in and make the quest a workable quest, and I did that today. So yay, quest. I'll be releasing information on that, where you can find it and how it works, and then there's one more that's going to come out here in a couple days too. I'm kind of waiting for, someone was helping me with that too, and I'm kind of waiting to get a hold of them. So there's that. We're going to get mini games on the server soon. So if you're looking for a server
that's good.
that mixes survival and mini games, check that out. And finally, what was the last thing I wanted to mention? It was on the tip of my tongue a second ago, and now I can't remember. Play us out, Keyboard Cat. I don't. There was one more thing. Oh, First Street came out today. That was it.
Oh, that's right.
How did you forget about that?
I don't know how I forgot about that. I worked on it a whole bunch today and finally got it all done.
I had a viewing party like right before pre-show
today
of that. Yeah. WWE got muted so we could watch this.
What did you think of it?
Oh, I liked it. It was good.
All right. So
kind of leaves it hanging though.
It does leave it hanging, and the story really took a turn this week. So, and a lot of the things, I had my sister watch it, and the first thing she said was, wow, this actually pulls together a lot of the story that's been going on. It's been seeming really random and crazy, and this really starts to tie it in, and you start to get a feel for what's really going on. So,
too bad season 1's about to end.
Yeah, one more episode in season 1, wrap up
That's all you
finale. Yeah, and
I guarantee you one more episode.
And we can't guarantee season 2, but we have a lot of plans for it, so it should be a lot of fun. And I want to experiment with some different ways of filming it and stuff like that. But we got to wrap up.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, thank you all for coming tonight. Be sure to go check out Anarchy Arcade, linked in the show notes, and all the other things we talked about, EverythingNoob.com. And we will see you next week. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Everything Noob podcast. Be sure to visit everythingnoob.com for previous episodes, show notes, host bios, and blogs. And while you're there, feel free to write us with any questions, comments, or suggestions you may have. Don't forget to check out the links to our Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch TV channel as well. On behalf of the Noobs, see you next week, and happy gaming.